Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. I just read a book that starts off with the protagonist in Cascade, Idaho. It was so cool. In fact, we're going to bring in one of our regulars here. He is a New York Times best-selling author, Pulitzer Prize winner, novelist Stephen Hunter joins us with a brand new Bob Lee Swagger novel. Stephen, how are you, sir?
I am very good, Tom. It's so great to talk to you.
It's good to talk with you, and like I say, it was just hilarious. I'm reading this thing, and I mean, you start this novel off, and he's right there in Cascade, Idaho, and I'm looking around and go, where is he? Where is he?
Well, Cascade, Idaho is my idea of a dream town. That's why I put him there.
Well, it's my idea of exactly the same thing. At this point, we still do not have a traffic light, so this is a good thing for us.
Oh, I'm glad that's the best news yet.
So many people were waiting for this book, and I know people are, if they don't know you or your work, they're thinking, why are we talking about this on Gun Talk? Well, it may not be gun-centric, but you do well with the role of firearms in your novels, really from the very beginning, and you've always been kind of a gunny who works the stuff into your books. How did all that happen?
Well, it happened because I am who I am, and I was born, I believe, with whatever it is, whether it's a gene or a little trick of the mind or a certain shape of an imagination. I was born with this extraordinary feel for attraction to an interest in guns, and this was evident. Really, it's very ancient behavior. I remember always watching certain TV shows way back in the 50s, not because I liked the hero or not because I liked the stories or the milieu or any of that, because I liked the guns. And I just, it's just a presence. It was nothing in my environment that suggested this should happen. I did not come from a hunting or a shooting family. Right. Although there was a rural branch where they both hunted and shot. But I just had this instantaneous and deeply felt attraction to not only the guns, but to the people, the culture, the history, the information. And the curious thing is, the funny thing is, if you really love something, if you're really drawn to something, you don't have to work hard to memorize the facts and the truth. They just stick automatically. If you read it once, you know it forever. I can remember stories that I read in 1956 when I was 10 years old in Guns magazine, which had just started up then, right. And to which I was one of the earliest subscribers at the age of 10. And, it's just always been, there were times when I wish I wasn't so attracted. I was a time when I was very conformist and I wanted to fit in and have people like me. And it was sort of an embarrassment to be kept hidden. But at a certain point, I realized that if I was ever going to be or do anything, I had to be and do who I was. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, it's been a fabulous journey.
Yeah, because, you were on the staff of the Washington Post, not exactly a gun-centric publication, and yet you were cranking out these novels that had protagonists who used guns, and not just used guns, but you got the details right. And I think that's one of the things that your readers really appreciate when you talk about a Winchester Model 70. You get it right. When you're talking about, subsonic loads, you get it right, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm quite proud of that. It was one of the impetuses for doing this sort of thing. Anybody who knows anything about guns can cite chapter and verse of books, movies, TV shows where they've gotten it wrong.
Oh, yes.
And they, even very esteemed authors, I won't name them, get things flagrantly wrong all the time. And one of my ideas was to try and get as much stuff right as I could get right as possible to get right. Not saying I haven't made mistakes, I have, but I've still had that as a goal. And I have a little circle of people, most of whom are quite knowledgeable, and they will help me if I screw something up. I'm thinking, for example, of Mark Keith, who is head of publications for NRA.
Right. Yeah.
And he called me once and he said, you have this 45 brass stamped, I don't know, Frankfurt, and it was really DuPont or something, something so infinitely tiny.
Right.
I would not have caught that in 1,000 years, but he caught it, and he saved me 50 angry emails in the action of doing it. Because as you know, in this culture, people want you to get things right, and if you get things wrong, they'll let you know it.
Well, and I should explain, for those few who don't know your work, the Bob Lee Swagger series, Bob Lee Swagger, the character is a former sniper, and so guns factor into a lot of what he does.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, it is logical and inevitable, an extension of his character, that he would be consumed by the firearms. And now he's gotten older, he's no longer a door kicker or he never swings on ropes or does double somersaults while firing two Berettas. But he functions more as a forensic detective. He understands ballistics. Mm-hmm. He understands the dynamics of shooting incidents. He understands what can and what cannot happen. And he brings that to the various problems that he's asked to solve. And it gives him an insight that not even the FBI quite has. A lot of people don't get this stuff. And it's the key to a lot of things that happen in violence that we don't understand. And so you see, if you read the papers, you see utter nonsense published day after day after day. And Bob is sort of he's the spirit of truth. He's the guy who looks at the data, organizes it in such a way that it makes sense, finds a theory, and then proceeds from that theory. And that's my one trick. I'm a one-trick pony. He does that in every book. You don't like that trick, go somewhere else.
Well, an awful lot of people like it, and the newest one is the title of the book is Targeted. It's a Bob Lee Swagger novel, targeted by Stephen Hunter, New York Times best-selling author. It's just out now. I sat down and read it practically in one sitting. I zoomed through your book, Steve, because they are me. They speak to me. It's like you say, when I grew up, I feel like I learned to read by reading, the John Amber Gun Digest that came out every
year. Thank you so much.
So, I mean, it's fascinating and lovely. And the only thing wrong with your novels is as soon as you finish them, you turn around and go, yeah, okay, that's great. Now, what are you going to do for me next?
Oh, well, isn't that nice? Yeah, I wish I could turn them out that fast, but it's not a snap process. It takes, to get it more or less right, or to get it as right as I can get it, it takes a long time, a lot of work, some books more than others.
Sure.
It takes sort of a gift for knowing what is important and what isn't important. It just takes a complete investiture of the imagination in the effort. And that's not easy, A. And B, it's also, people don't understand this. Gee, you just sit at a keyboard. What's the big deal? It is exhausting. And I always have a recovery period afterwards where ain't good for nothing, no ways, no how. And I just lie around the house.
What's that old line? Just sit at a keyboard and open a vein.
That's me. That's me all the way for about 6 months after a book. Although as I get older, the recovery period seems to be taking longer and longer.
I am going to avoid drawing an analogy to anything on that one, so we'll leave that one alone.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us here. Stephen Hunter is the author of Targeted, the newest Bob Lee Swagger novel. I'm just going to recommend, if you like it, you need to go ahead and get involved, because the good news is there's a bunch of them. And thank you for what you do. And look, anytime you want, you are welcome here, my friend.
You're so good to me, Tom. I do appreciate it.